Go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That is where we find Jordan Pugh. What's up, my man?
What's going on, man? How you living down there?
We're good. So I know you tweeted you had some hot sports takes or some opinions about what has happened over the last weekend. So I'm going to just give you the floor. It's all yours, my friend.
I love how you do this, man. Look, well, one, I'm still on a high from the win, man. I think that was one of the best wins that we've had in program history. It's not because it was a top 10 win. It's the way that we won, and it was the stakes at which we had played at. I think a lot of people are missing that. The way, we talked about it last week, how I said this would be a coaching matchup. This is what it would be. And in that first half, you saw us get out-coached. We got out-coached in the first half. You saw the adjustments that were made in the second half. And then you saw the direction of the game completely flip. Looking at this team, looking at who we are a physical football team. We are a run-first football team. And to watch us impose our will like we did in the second half, that's a different A&M program that we have and then that I've seen in a long time, man. I watched us take away the will to win from LSU. And when I saw that, I think I texted you. I think I said, man, that's a defining win for us. That's huge. And seeing the progression, man, seeing how the team complements each other. We're a defensive-led team with an offensive-led run game. We complement each other well. We play well together on special teams. You see the adjustments that are being made. The hard decision that was made to pull Connor. You're seeing a coach who understands his team, but most importantly, you're seeing a coach who schematically is trying to create the best matchups for our team to win night in and night out. So when I saw that, I said, okay, this is a different program. It's not to say that we're on a national championship run and trend right now, which I think we can be. But, man, seeing that's what you talk about when you say culture. That's what you talk about when you say standard, mindset, all those buzzwords that people like to use. That was big in my book, and I think and I hope that people don't miss what they saw on Saturday.
All right, so I asked Jamie something I'm going to ask you, okay? There are pundits, there are former athletes, former professional players, college football players that have this opinion out there. Some of them went to LSU, some went other places, that LSU gave A&M the game as opposed to A&M took the game from LSU. What say you?
Well, the ones who gave them away don't know what they're looking at. A&M took that. When we made that switch with Marcel at quarterback, that was the catalyst that we needed, and it sparked everything. You saw the team play with life, with hope, with energy, full speed, passion. Man, that was the cog that we needed in order to beat that team. Here's how we took it. LSU did not know how to adjust defensively when Marcel came into the game. Then offensively, you started to see an offense that pressed. Another reason why we took the game, LSU I don't even think they had 30 yards rushing, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep.
We stifled their run game the entire time. You limit them to pass-only type of offense. You made them very one-dimensional. You made them very predictable. And now you made Garrett Nussmeier press. Momentum started to swing. We took that from them. So anybody who says that, I mean, I get it. They probably had LSU. They probably saw what LSU was capable of. But we took that game from them because we took what they wanted to do and what they did best away from them as well. And so that's why I say, man, we won that game. We won that game handily in the second half because we were more physical than them, and we created more plays than them from the defensive side and offensive side. That's why we won that game.
Jordan, I also think that A&M's defense did enough to make it a respectable score at the half because, they missed a couple of field goals. Those field goals were 48 yards long. Like, those are not – it's not like they, moved the ball to the 8-yard line. These were midfield. Like, come on. Like, they missed a couple of long field goals from a guy whose his long heading into that game was 48 yards.
Well, defensively, I mean, like you said it best, 17-7 at halftime. They kept us in the game and they kept it within reach. I know one of the things that people have been talking about is, we're not really going to get a lot of sacks and pressures. We limited LSU to 24 rushing yards. Our D-line did their job, and then you saw them take over later on at the end of the game. Listen, our defense, like we said all year, they've been the team. They've held the team on their back. They have created the opportunities for the offense, especially when we've been stagnant in moments. They've been the best part and the best unit of this team. You always want to give your offense the ball as many times as possible because you always want to make the game manageable and allow them to fight their way back. And that's what our defense did this past weekend. That's why, to me, it was a full team effort. It took a half in order for us to get our stuff together on offense. But it was because of the defense not letting the game get away that allowed us to be able to get the spark we needed. That's what the defense did. The defensive line was dominant. And everybody asked me, well, why? When you have 24 rushing yards, you did your job on defense. Everything is not based off sacks. Everything is not based off pressures. When you limit one part of the offense, you take that away, you make the offense one-dimensional. And then it allows you to mix and match coverages in the back end. And you wonder why we got those picks in the secondary. Because you force LSU to show their hand in that second half. The adjustments made by Elko at halftime were phenomenal. And you saw them play out in the second half.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on Texas Live. Do you worry about this offense moving forward being too one-dimensional?
No, not if Marcel's the quarterback. Here's what I think. If we're going to make a championship run, so let's start SEC. If we're going to make a championship run, we have got to get better in the pass game. That is obvious. I also think that the way that we want to run our offense is best suited for Marcel and his skill set, what he wants to do. Now, from the pass game, I don't think we helped out Connor a lot in the pass game because everything that I saw was intermediate and above in our pass concepts. We didn't have any type of bailout options for Connor to hit. We had, no flares, no mesh concepts, no sit-down type routes, nothing that can get him out of bad situations. A lot of the sacks, a lot of him holding the ball was our guys trying to get into the routes. And the time it took for the plays to develop, it took forever. And LSU's D-line, South Carolina's D-line, they're too good, they're too elite to be able to hold the ball that long. So we got to be able to have better pass concepts. And I think that's our Achilles heel when it comes to our offense. Now, with that being said, with what Marcel brings, and I texted you this, I said, Marcel brings an element that you have to account for, and it's going to have to make you choose as a defense. As a defense, do I add an additional defender into the box, which means I lose the defender in the pass game? Do I bring a spy down to account for Marcel, which makes us hurt in the run game? Because now we have a guy who's identifying him solely, and he's not necessarily part of the run fit. It makes the defense have to choose. The one thing that happened in that game, Marcel came in, his feet, I don't even think he threw a pass the first two series, if I'm not mistaken. But his feet, man, created an element where LSU had no idea what to do. Now you're forcing the defensive coordinator is being forced to have to choose what type of defense he runs. Do we sit back? Do we pressure? Do we add an extra man to the box? How do we do this thing? But Marcel's feet, they're so good, they're so effective that it opens up the playbook. And then when you see that big pass that he hit down with Noah on that post concept, by Klein allowing him to use his feet, it opened up the one-on-one opportunity. That's where I think Marcel, man, he just fits what I think Klein wants to do best. It opens up too much. There's too many threats. There's too many people that you have to account for. And I think in order for us to be effective and do what we really want to do, he's got to be the guy.
Can Connor get right this season? Because he hasn't been right. And if they go with Marcel moving forward, I still think there are scenarios where we'll see Connor. But just is his game flawed? Is it his mind? Is it just as simple as the receivers aren't opening up and the offense maybe is tailored a little bit more to Marcel's skill set? Like, how do we fix the Connor situation?
I don't think that Connor, it's not an issue of Connor getting right. That's not the right question. It's the issue of, do we want to change the offense to fit his skill set? We have a 4-game sample size now of Marcel. We have, a 3 or 4 game sample size of Connor. And what we have come to realize that the offense is built around Marcel's skill set. It's not that Connor's a bad quarterback. It's not that he doesn't have the capability or ability. We're looking at a skill set that maximizes the ability of what we're trying to do offensively. All right. And so when you look at that, I think that Marcel is the right fit. Look, I don't think we need to overthink the room here. Through the 4 games that Marcel has played in, has been a factor, and he's been 3-0 as a starter. He's been effective with his feet. He's had big time pass plays. Now our passing game has been the Achilles heel of the offense, but we've had explosive plays in the pass game with Marcel in the game. Why is that? Because he's a dual threat and he's effective with his feet. Makes the defense choose. I just think that what we want to do offensively, the way that Klein wants to run the offense, the things that he wants to do as far as zone concepts, passing concepts, that is best fit with Marcel in the game.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on Texas Live. Let's talk about this A&M defense. And it took a little while for them to get to the quarterback. What changed? Yep. Was it just because the Moffitt effect? I know that's a big part of it, but what else potentially?
Well, you already know where I stand when it comes to Moffitt and the string coaches. But let's get down to brass tacks. You took away the run. When you took away the run, you knew that they became predictable. Also, when we created the first turnover, all right, and then we scored off of that, all right, that created a momentum, and then that created an effect with us to be able to dial up some pressures, but also to be able to mix in some coverages. And then a lot of the pressures, a lot of the other turnovers that we had were created because Nussmeier didn't see what we had coming. It was a lot of disguising. It was a lot of showing one thing, moving to another. It was a lot of combination coverages where we were taking away the slots. The one issue that we had at the beginning of the game in the first half, we were sitting in single high defenses a lot, whether it was a cover 3 or whether it was cover 1. The reason why they had those big pass plays in the first half is because they were killing us in the seams, those hash marks. So when I say seams, we're talking about the hash marks on defense. A lot of that was based off cover 3 looks that we had, single high type looks. When you go to the second half, we're going to 2-shell looks. We're going to cover 4, bracket type coverages. We were eliminating a lot of the seam routes that they wanted to hit, like they hit in the first half. So when you took that away, when you were dropping line, you're dropping the end, Nussmeier didn't know what was going on. He started second guessing himself, and that's based off schematics. That's why I say this was a coaching win. More so than the players, this was a coaching win because Elko saw what needed to happen. He made the adjustments, and you saw the defense thrive from that point.
Hey, we've talked about a lot of the offense, but we really didn't touch on Leveon and Amari and their ability just to out-physical the LSU defense.
Yes. Big props to the offensive line. When you look at what we did in the run game, tell me if I'm wrong. I want to say I texted you this, but I swear we didn't throw a pass in the first 2 series that Marcel was in the game.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, we are literally running down their throat. That's a testament to the offensive line. That's literally me saying that I'm better than you. That's me saying that I'm going to dominate you, and I'm physically going to put my will, and I'm going to take the life and hope out of your soul. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what our offensive line did. We've been saying this each and every week. We have been trending, and we've been trying to find our identity. And we are a run-first football team. But each and every week, we have started to put teams away based off the run game. And every single win that we've had, at the end of it, our run game has shined the best. And that is a test to Moffitt in the strength room. But most importantly, that's a test to our toughness and our physicality from our head coach, being able to put people away. That's the most exciting thing to see. One of the things that we talked about before was, can we finish? We've been in this position before. Can we finish the job? Seeing that on Saturday gave me big time hope, because those are the signs of a program that understand what the task is and they understand the standard. That's what you want to see.
All right, so South Carolina this weekend. I'm worried. Jordan, you know this about me. I worry about everything, right? Like I worry about.
I am too.
But that defense scares me, man. So when you see this matchup, what do you see?
I see big time. I see an elite defensive line at South Carolina. So we talked about who should be the starter going into the game. You got to have a mobile guy when you go against South Carolina. Those 2 DNs that they have are NFL bodies, NFL first-round guys. So you're talking about that matchup. They can wreck a game. You're talking about going to South Carolina at a night game. The environment's going to be crazy. It's going to be ruckus. But I think, once again, it comes down to matchups. And I think if Marcel starts, we create matchups within the front 7, man, that will win. Also, defensively, they offensively, they're good, but they're not dynamic anywhere. And I think our defensive line, once again, takes over a game and starts dominating. We create plays. We create turnovers from that end. But I don't want to call this a trap, because I think that Elko has this team wired the right way. But this season, on any given Saturday, it could be one of those deals. And I think that South Carolina is equipped with the manpower to be able to do it. This is one of those tricky type games, man, because you're coming off an emotional high. Will we create the matchups, and will we have the right personnel in the game to take advantage of what they do defensively? That's going to be the question.
And it's so hard to win there, too, right? South Carolina at night, like, people don't give it the respect it deserves. That's a hard place to play.
Yeah. It's one of the most underrated environments. They always have top-tier talent. It's just, man, this SEC thing is a beast. And you know that when you're playing against top-level guys each and every week, NFL guys each and every week, you got to bring your best. That's why each week is separate. Each week is its own season. And I think Elko has got the guys to understand and focus on that. I just think you're seeing a different mindset. I was texting you a lot during the game. And I think that drive was at the start of the fourth quarter, or maybe I texted you where I said, this is the game-defining drive right here. If we drive down this field and we score, this tells me everything I need to know. It's the mindset. And I think Elko talks about it a lot, the strain. He always says the key word. His key word is strain. Is being able to strain to finish. And I think that we have that DNA now. I think we understand what it is now because we were forced to be put in that situation in order to strain. I think we learned from the Notre Dame game. We've been able to put it together through Arkansas, through Bowling Green, through adverse situations, and you're seeing it take over, man. Who you are late in games is who you train to be. And I think that, man, we have trained that in the offseason through Moffitt, and now you're seeing it take place during the games, especially in the fourth quarter.
Jordan, it really is possible. Like, we've always talked about it in theory, but it is possible for this team to play in Atlanta and be a playoff team. It's there. Now, I'm not taking South Carolina, Auburn, or Texas for granted. And I'm bringing up only the SEC games, right? I'm not taking those teams for granted, right? I am worried about going on the road in the SEC no matter where you go. Auburn's going to be hard. South Carolina, I guess my point is you are in position in November, which is what I asked for, be in the conversation. They're not only in the conversation, they're in the freaking driver's seat, man.
Well, Aggies all over the world, stop being so paranoid when you ask for this opportunity. Okay? What did we say at the beginning of the year? Expectations. Well, it's a privilege to have expectations. So why are we surprised when we're here? Right? The only thing that we have to do now is we have to finish the job. That's the key. How do you get 18 to 22-year-olds to stay focused for 4 more weeks? We'll count it 5 when we say the SEC championship and finish the job. I'm not surprised because we've said this before. A&M is a ticking time bomb. A&M has all the resources in the world. It's never been a player issue. It's never been a talent acquisition issue. It's can we get the right chef in here to make the right meal? And now what you're seeing is evidence of that. Now it comes down to coaching. Yes, it does. Coaching very much so matters. But now, can the players handle the moment? You can't coach that. I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing you can do to coach that. They have got to be able to understand where they are. They got to be able to understand and take advantage of the moment. But can they handle it? Because now, instead of applying the pressure is applied now by the other teams. You are now the hunted. And so can we flip the switch and can we continue to have that killer mindset and finish games off? That's where we are. Elko and the coaches have done their job up to this point. They have to continue to do their job. Now the leadership of the team takes place and comes forward now. That's what's made Alabama different. That's what has made Georgia different. The players have now said it's go time now. They always say you remember November? Well, here it is. Everything that you've asked for, everything that you worked for, everything that you sweated for, everything that you've done in the offseason is placed in front of you. Get the job done. It is what it is. That's the expectation. And that's what we as Aggies got to look forward to, man. Enjoy it. Love it. But understand it ain't finished yet.
Jordan, appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much, buddy.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man. Jordan Pugh there.